Napoli remain in the driver's seat over in Italy, that's right, but can they be caught this weekend? We're going to take a look at that and much more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another production video today. It's all about Serie A, that's right, as we take a little look at the next round of games just around the corner. And of course, before that, where have you been, guys? Smash your subscribe and your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Serie A, World Football. We've got it all here under one rooski, that's right. We've got a stacked, packed fixture list this coming weekend over in Italy's top flight. But before that, make sure you subscribe, and a big shout out to the members and the Patreons. You know who you are. So sit tight, guys. We're going to revisit the last round of games before we bring you bang up to date with the games coming at you this weekend. So sit tight, hold on, and let's get into it then, shall we? Of course. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this, guys. Here are your results from the last time around on the screen right about now. It started with Torino's draw against Venezia, 1-1 on the night there. I went with a 2-1 win myself. Meanwhile, Udinese picking up a 2-1 win over Cagliari. I did go with the draw. Como also coming out of the box there with a 1-0 win over Parma. I went the other way. Napoli did beat Lecce, just the 1-0, just got over the line, but that 1-0 puts them at top of the pops. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Inter with a 1-0 win themselves over Verona. Again, I went with a 2-0 win, but it was just the fine margins. Lazio with a 1-0 win on the road against Empoli. I went with a 3-1 win myself. Atalanta with a 4-0 win over Monza. Wow, wow, wee, wow. Meanwhile, Roma kept up the heat themselves with a 1-0 win over Fiorentina. I did go with a 2-0 win on that one. Bologna and Juventus duked it out to a 1-1 draw with AC Milan picking up a 2-1 win over Genoa. That's right. And that, of course, is what I had last time around. So that is the state of play there. What about the state of the play in the table? Well, guys, it looks a little bit like this. As you see it, it is Napoli, it is Inter, and it is Atalanta at the moment of the top three. Juventus trying to get into the top three, but they can't get there at the moment. Bit of a gap between themselves. Going down, Monza, Empoli, and Venezia at the time of asking right now, but Lecce still well and truly in that relegation battle as well. But the race for top four is what it's all about. Will it be Juventus? Will it be Roma? Will it be Lazio, of course? Bologna also getting in there, and maybe even Fiorentina. So we'll keep a close eye on that heading into this weekend's game. But before that, this is the link for the Super Brew. I'm not giving you an update now because we are on the road. It's very difficult to give you an update without my second monitor. So we're going to just keep doing our thing, and that is predicting. That's right. So we're going to jump at the deep end with the next round of games, and we'll start with AC Milan up against Bologna, coming at you this coming Friday, the 9th of May. That's right, the Giuseppe Meazza is the venue. Please forgive me and my poor eyesight. They played 48 times, these two sides, since 1996. 31 wins for AC Milan. We have 7 wins for Bologna. There's been 11 draws between the two sides. Both sides are trying to compete for European spots, you would imagine. AC Milan are in 9th with 57 points. Bologna are in 7th with 62. Coming into this, though, AC Milan winning 3 on the spin for them. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against Bologna, also just 1 defeat in the last 6. Now, these two sides last played at this very venue was a 2-2 draw way back in January 2024. The reverse fixture in Bologna way back in February 2025 was a 2-1 win for Bologna. They've only won once in the last 6 against AC Milan. Coming into this, though, Milan on the back of that 2-1 win over Genoa. Bologna with a 1-1 draw over with Juventus just the other day. This one's, of course, going to the bookies. Bookies odds 6-4 is your Milan, 9-5 is your Bologna. It's quite tight. 12-5 is the draw here. I think might be sitting on the fence with this one. A 1-1 draw because I think Bologna are good. AC Milan should be difficult, though, to beat at home. Let's go to Como up against Cagliari. That's coming out on Saturday, the 10th of May. The Stadio Giuseppe Signalia. Como under Cesc Fabregas find themselves into 10th right now. Good season for them. 45 points for them. 5 wins on the spin. Up against Cagliari under I don't know who the coach is at the moment. I haven't got that data to me. But they're into 14th right now, 33 points for the season, just 1 win in the last 5. They played each other 11 times since 2001. 3 wins Como, 4 wins Cagliari. There's been 4 draws between the two sides. Last time around, of course, over at Como. It was a 3-1 win back in July 2024. The reverse fixture, a 1-1 draw this season back in August 2024. Como on the back of that 1-1 win over Parma. Cagliari with a 2-1 loss to Udinese last time round. In this top division. Currently, the bookies odds 11-8 on is your Como, 50-4 is your Cagliari, 40-5 is the draw here. I think I'm going with a Como victory, 1-0 on the night. Next up, we go to Lazio, of course, as they take on Juventus. What a game that is at the Stadio Olimpico. Lazio, the hosts here, coming into this in 6th spot with 63 points up against Juventus, who are all the way up into 4th with 63 points as well. They played 77 times since 1993, 20 wins for Lazio, 42 wins for Juventus. There's been 15 draws, of course. Coming into this, though, Lazio are unbeaten in the last 5. They've won 3 and drawn 2. Meanwhile, Juventus just 1 defeat in the last 6. They're rocking 67% form as well, but back-to-back games without a loss. Last time around, of course, over at the Stadio Olimpico, In the league, it was a 1-0 win for Lazio back in March 2024. The reverse fixture this season was a 1-0 win for Juventus Turin back in October. Lazio on the back of that 1-0 win over Empoli. Juventus picking up at the draw against Bologna most recently. This is a tricky one, guys. Of course, 6-4 is your Lazio, 19-10 is your Juventus, and 11-5 is the draw here. I think I'm leaning towards the Lazio victory. Juventus at home are something different, but Lazio are decent and going to push Juventus all the way for a top 4 finish if they could be in there at the end. Meanwhile, Empoli up against Parma, also coming on Saturday, May the 10th. Be with you at the Carlo Castellani. Empoli all the way down to 19th right now, 25 points for the season. Up against Parma, who are in 16th with 32 points for the campaign. They played each other 26 times since 1997, 7 wins. Empoli 14 wins. Parma, there's been 5 draws between two sides. Empoli coming into this without a win in at least the last 10. They're rocking 70% form for them right now. Just 1 win, though, in the last 6 for Parma. They are the draw kings, though. Coming at you last round over at Empoli, speaking of draws, it was a 3-3 draw way back in March 2019. The reverse fixture this season at Parma was also a 1-1 draw. Coming into this, Parma on the back of that 1-0 loss to Lazio. Parma, though, picking up a 1-0 loss themselves to Como. Goodness gracious me. The odds right here right now, 23-20 is your Empoli, 5-2 your Parma, 23-10 is the draw. I am sitting on the fence one more time. 0-0 draw between these two sides over in Empoli. Meanwhile, let's head over to the Stadio Friuli as Udinese take on Monza. That's coming at you on the 11th of May. Udinese all the way down to 12th right now, 44 points for the season, back-to-back games without a loss. Up against Monza, who've had a right old miserable season, 20 for them, 15 points for the campaign, and they've lost 6 on the spin. In fact, they haven't won in the last 14 matches. Now, they played just 6 times since 2022. 2 wins for Udinese, just 1 win for Monza, 3 draws since 2022. Last time around, of course, over at Udinese, it was a 0-0 draw back in February 2024. The reverse fixture this season was a 2-1 win for Udinese over at Monza. That's back in December. Coming into this, Udinese on the back of that 2-1 win over Cagliari. Monza picking up a 4-0 loss to Atalanta. Goodness gracious me, it's actually been back-to-back games, at least, without a goal. The odds for this one, 25-12 on is your Udinese, 16-5 is the draw, 6-1 is your Monza. They ain't going to win this one. Going to go with a 2-1 win, Udinese, to take it to the house. Verona up against Lecce coming at you also on Sunday, the 11th of May at the Stadio Mercanto Bertagodi. Verona are all the way down to 15th right now, 32 points for the season, but they are winless in at least the last 6. In fact, they've lost 3 on the spin. Up against the Lecce side, who are also struggling down 17th right now, 27 points for the season, winless in the last 12. Goodness gracious me. Now, they played 21 times since 1998. 9 wins for Verona, 6 wins for Lecce. There's been 6 draws between the two sides. Last time around at Verona, it was one of those 6 draws. It was a 2-2 thriller back in November 2023. A reverse fixture this season, 1-0 win at Lecce back in October. Verona on the back of that 1-0 loss to Internazionale. Back-to-back games now without a goal. In fact, they haven't scored a goal in the last 4. Lecce coming into this on the back of that 1-0 loss to Napoli. They've only scored 1 goal in the last 3 themselves. The odds right here right now, 30-10 is your Verona, 12-5 is your Lecce, 2-1 is the draw. This does smell like a draw, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 win. Verona taking it to the house. Torino, they're up against the current champions and Champions League finalists, Internazionale. Coming to the Stadio Olimpico Gran Torino. Torino are in 11th with 44 points, just 1 win in the last 6 matches up against Inter, who are second right now, 74 points for the season, back-to-back wins. Now, they played each other 43 times since 1993. 5 wins for Torino, 27 wins for Inter. There's been 11 draws between these two sides. Last time around over at Internazionale. In fact, last time around at Torino was a 3-0 win for Inter back in October 2023. The reverse fixture in Milan was a 3-2 win for the current champions back in October. They've actually won a 5 on the spin against Torino, looking to make it 6. And they're coming into this Torino, though, on the back of that draw against Venezia. Inter on the back of that 4-3 win over Barca to go through to the Champions League final. Wow. Coming into this, 5-1 is your Torino, 50-8 on is your Inter, and 31-10 is the draw. We're back in Inter for the win to make it a good old week. And maybe back into the title race. Meanwhile, Napoli up against Genoa, coming to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. Of course, Napoli currently top the table with 77 points. They're unbeaten in at least the last 6, but they won 4 on the spin. Up against Genoa, under Patrick Vieira, they're only on 13th right now, 39 points for the season. They've lost 3 on the spin. Now, they played 49 times, these two clubs, since 1993. 23 wins for Napoli, 9 wins for Genoa. There's been 17 draws between the two sides, including the last that they played at Napoli, a 1-1 draw back in February 2024. The reverse fixture this season at Genoa, 2-1 win it was for Napoli, who are unbeaten against Genoa over the last 5. They won 3 and they've drawn a couple. Napoli on the back of that 1-0 win over Lecce. Genoa on the back of a 2-1 loss to AC Milan, of course, back on the 5th of May. The odds right here, right now. Napoli are 3-1 on for the victory. 9-1 is Genoa. 17-4 is the draw. But, of course, table toppers will extend the lead. 2-0 winners at the top of the table. Meanwhile, into Monday we go. It's Venezia. It's Fiorentina. It's coming to Stadio Pierluigi Penzo. Venezia currently find themselves into a 18th spot right now. Up against the Fiorentina side, who are in 8th. A whopping 30-odd points, 33 points between the two sides. Coming into this, though, Venezia are just 1 defeat in the last 6. So I'll take that back. 1 defeat in the last 5. Up against Fiorentina side, who've lost back-to-back matches. Now, they played 12 times, these two clubs, since 1998. 5 wins apiece and 2 draws. Last time around, over at this very venue, it was a 1-0 win for Venezia. That was way back in October 2021. Meanwhile, the reverse fixture this season was, in fact, one of those. 2 draws. It was a 0-0 draw back in August 2024. Venezia on the back of the draw themselves against Torino. Fiorentina with a 1-0 loss to Roma most recently. But the odds right here, right now, looking at it, 21-10 is your Venezia, 13-10 your Fiorentina, 11-5 is the draw here, guys. 1-1 on the night. Point apiece doesn't do Fiorentina any good, but they could be in their own European final if the week goes out in the best way for them. Meanwhile, we wrap it up with a bit of a ding-dong classic at the Guais Stadium. It's Atalanta up against Roma. That's right, Guais Stadium, the venue. Atalanta currently find themselves 3rd, 68 points, up against Roma, who are 5th with 63 points. They played 52 times since 1993. 18 wins Atalanta, 24 wins for Roma. There's been 10 draws. Atalanta unbeaten in the last 4. Roma unbeaten in the last 6, including 3 wins on the spin. Now, the last time they played over at the Guais Stadium was a 2-1 win for Atalanta back in May 2024. The reverse fixture in Rome, 2-0 winners it was for Atalanta, who are unbeaten against Roma over the last 5 matches. That's 4 wins and just 1 draw. Atalanta on the back of that 4-0 win over Monza. Roma picking up a 1-0 win themselves over Fiorentina last time around. The odds here 11-10. On is your Atalanta, 27-10 is your Roma, 5-2 is the draw. Roma need the win to realistically get themselves in that top 4 discussion, but I think they're going to lose this one, 2-1 on the night to Atalanta. And that, my friends, will put the table looking a little bit like this. It'll be Napoli, it'll be Inter, of course, outright in the title race. Then it'll be Atalanta, who are in 3rd, outright themselves, with Lazio in 4th, Roma taking the back seat space right there. Lecce, Empoli and Monza at the moment. That's, of course, my take. Let me know your thoughts and opinions as we look forward to seeing those, and, of course, getting closer to the end of the season. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. We're done.